Hello, good evening, good afternoon, ladies. Hello. Hi, ladies. Who is there on the other end? It's hump day. Wednesday's a hump day. How was it? How was your day? Oh, I'm just talking to myself. Come on, ladies. One? Oh, just one. Come on. It's such an awesome talk today. Thank you, Suma. Suma is saying so beautiful. Thank you, Suma. You're the one who is going to start the conversation now because it's just you and me in the lounge at the moment. It's the Saree Gallery Lounge. I thought there will be lots and lots of ladies waiting to join our conversation. So I can see two now, which is really good. Come on, ladies. It's Wednesday afternoon. Suma is saying ha ha ha. Good evening, Hema. Looking lovely. Thank you, Yamini. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in. I can see 3. Come on, ladies. I just need the counter to be incremented. I need more people. Otherwise, I'll be just talking to just maybe 4 people. No. Come on. It's a great topic today. It's a lovely topic. I'm sure everyone would be interested and raising some questions. Come on, ladies. I need more people. So, by the way, how was your Wednesday? You can signal me with a thumbs up or maybe a emoji, a heart emoji saying it was all good, or maybe a thumbs down if it's not good. Probably blending with our self-esteem talk. Come on, ladies. Come on. I need a little bit more people. The counter should go up, right? So I have to individually ask now. Suma, so how was your day? Yamini, how was your day? All good? It's just that Christmas time, isn't it? It's just so busy on the roads. Work still going on, I know. That's never ending. Work and household chores, you start from one end and the other end. By the time you finish, the other end will be ready for you. Ashwini Vikram, thank you for joining in. Suma is saying, super, madam. Excellent, that's very good to know. All right, I think I have 7. I think I should get going. And probably I will be having a few more to join in. And Yamini is saying, there's a software vulnerability around the world. So crazy time at work. Oh, all right. Okay, we are not affected, so which is good. Maybe is that the finance industry? Who knows? Probably Yamini would be able to answer that. Or is it like a general software affecting everyone? Don't know. I should get an IT talk sometime. Right, okay, welcome ladies to the Wholesome Wednesday session number 79. It's all about sarees and conversations about emotional health, self-esteem and well-being. It's a very important topic in this COVID time and COVID world. Probably it's picking up its gear because of the other virus, which is a new entrant. So we have to just wait and watch. But anyway, so many people are affected. We have learned so many lessons. It's just a learning curve. But it has to go on, the life has to go on, and it goes on, right? So there's no stoppage, like, time and tide doesn't wait for anyone. It just goes on and on and on. So that's what we are doing at the moment. And well, starting our session. Welcome again to Wholesome Wednesday session number 79. And as usual, birthdays, whoever celebrated birthday, I'll just get Surpreet on, because sometimes the technology will take some time, so I'll just let her in. So happy birthday to all the ladies who celebrated from last week up until yesterday. Wishing you all a very, very happy birthday. And today I have got 3 ladies celebrating their birthday. One is Shobha Pai. The other one is Arpita Arun. If you ladies remember, she had done the miniature carving on the pencil. If not, you can go and check her thing on the events page. And it was so minute, and it was fine carving, etc. It was such a beautiful program. Thank you. Welcome, Surpreet. Thank you
Hi.
for joining in. It's good I just let you in early, because you kind of like never know with the technology what happens.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. I'll just finish this off and I'll come to you. Right. The next one is Suprabha Kumar. So all the beautiful ladies who are celebrating birthday today, wishing you all a very, very happy birthday. Okay, coming to our international days or national days, or whatever it is called. It's interesting today, and one of the days perfectly fits in for today's topic. Let me start with the International Tea Day. So tea lovers across the globe, and the tea producing countries, just in short, will be quite a few countries actually. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Vietnam, Indonesia, Kenya, Malawi, Malaysia, Uganda, India, and Tanzania. So these are the countries celebrating the International Tea Day, right? It seems so. Aside from water, tea is the most popular beverage in the world. Wow. The primary types of tea include white, black, green, oolong, herbal, and puree. And tea is believed to have originated in China. In the 17th century, tea was made kind of like, it made its way to the UK. So there's a little bit of history behind that. Now, the very next one is quite interesting, and befittingly, I have just worn this, all right? Today is National Wear Your Pearls Day. It doesn't literally mean wearing pearls, but pearls come in a variety of shapes and sizes and colors, and so do people come in all shapes and sizes and all kinds of personalities. And the kinds of trials thrown into our lives kind of like relate to these pearls, because we create our own beauty from the tragedies of our lives, but often we kind of like, don't see that. We devalue ourselves, and as a result, lose motivation to be a part of life. Like pearls, we develop a process to protect ourselves from other damage, layer by layer, becoming stronger and more resourceful. Recognizing the collective value of our strength is like wearing our pearls. So that was the significance of Wear a Pearl Day. It was interesting, I didn't know, and it's just befittingly fitting into our self-esteem talk today. We are like pearls, isn't it? So, and the other one is the National Lemon Cupcake Day. So this one is literally enjoying a cupcake, a lemon cupcake. If you have an opportunity, grab a lemon cupcake and enjoy it. I enjoyed my share, but not in the form of cupcake, but just in the form of lemon cakes. So we had an appreciation lunch today, so I was very well fed. So I had 2 pieces of lemon cake, which I shouldn't have had, but you know what? That's what's my weakness. Right. Anyway, now let me start today's session. Today's session is all about emotional health and well-being and self-esteem. So befittingly, I wore this yellow sari. It's a repeat sari. It's a Georgette sari. It's got like beautiful embroidery done. I think it's machine embroidery. And it has got its own sequin work, which I will be posting later on tonight. And in the color spectrum, I chose yellow because it's all about self-esteem and, well-being and everything. And as such, all colors kind of like relate to something or the other as being part of a well-being activity. But majority of the time it's yellow, which is the color which is more noticeable, and it's the brightest color, and it signifies optimism, cheerfulness, and happiness. So that was the reason I just chose this yellow. It is a repeat sari. Was waiting for a new one. Did not have time to iron. I just thought, okay, this fits in, so I'm going to drape this sari. Right. So let me introduce Surpreet Cheema, who will be presenting tonight, and it will be an interesting talk. And before that, I will introduce Surpreet to all of you. Thank you, Surpreet, for joining in. And this is the Wholesome Wednesday platform, session number 79. It's again saris, and I do see she's wearing a beautiful, is that a Georgette sari or a silk sari? I couldn't make it out.
It's a crepe sari, actually.
It's a crepe sari. I think your audio needs to be a little bit louder.
Oh, can you hear me now?
It's very, very faint.
Okay, maybe I'll have to come a bit closer. Is it better now?
Just a little bit higher, so that.
All right. Okay.
It's very, very faint. Very faint. Ladies, can you just let me know whether it's audible properly or not? And whilst she's setting it up, I'll just do the intro, right? So today's topic, as I mentioned, self-esteem, right? So befittingly, this quote from Robert McCauley fits in. Change what you can, manage what you can't. It's so perfect. Yes, today it's all about mental health, which can be affected in numerous ways. And it affects how we think, we feel, and act. And it also determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. And it also includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So a friendly chit chat with Surpreet Cheema will clarify some of our doubts. Surpreet's journey as a psychologist started 20 years ago when she completed her master's in psychology from the University of Delhi from India. After working for a few years in India in different clinical settings, she migrated to New Zealand, where she registered with the Psychology Board in New Zealand, and she worked as a psychologist there, providing services to the clients from diverse cultural backgrounds and nationalities. It plays a major role, especially if you are, settled down in the Western countries. The diverse and cultural background plays a major, major role in every kind of workplace. So when the opportunity came up for her to set up a new clinical service in Auckland, she jumped up and she was appointed as the manager of the service, and she led a team of psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers. Their team won the Achievement Award in the Innovative Service category at the Mental Health Services Conference in 2010. And Surpreet and family migrated to Australia in 2013, and she gradually set up her own private practice, and it is named In-Tune Psychology, and it is in the Hills district of Sydney. Surpreet has extensive experience in working with adults and children, specializing in seeing clients experiencing anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, and loss, and postnatal depression. Alongside her private practice, Surpreet also works as a researcher with the Relationships Australia, and she has co-authored a chapter on migrants and refugees in the book Psychology and the Law in New Zealand. Surpreet is very passionate about her work and through psychotherapy likes to assist people in overcoming challenges in life and achieve their full potential. So let us have Surpreet back and we will start our live session. So Surpreet, are you ready to come in? Sorry, I will just approve. It takes some time to come through. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's very, very feeble.
Yeah.
Let me
Can you tell me what I
see.
need to do to
Just increase the volume. Can you increase the volume?
so for my screen, you are on the topmost volume thing.
What about on, are you on your laptop or are you on your phone?
iPad. Yamini saying she can hear.
Oh, okay. I can hear, all right. Okay, for me, it's very feeble. So let me see. Ladies, there are more ladies there. Can you just signal me whether it's audible? Hi, Deepthi. Thank you for joining in. Hi, Nirupama. Hi, Shobha. Hi, Deepthi
Okay, yeah,
Case,
they
Lakshmi.
can hear.
Hi. Hi, Chikama Basavrat. Hi, Anu.
Thanks,
Hi,
Yamini.
Asha. Hi, Suma, once again. Hi, Ashwini. Thank you. It is audible. All right, perfect. So maybe for me, it's very faint. Hopefully, it should settle down. All right, let us start. Surpreet. So, you know what? We have to kind of like chat the session saying, you know, what do you feel if you draped a sari? I will question you and then I will answer myself.
Okay, go for it then.
You want me to answer first?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For me, it's you're very, very feeble. But anyway, you know, there is a saying, you know, when in doubt, just drape a sari. You will feel so comfortable. Maybe I'm so passionate about saris, you know, it's just the comfort drape. And I literally feel, you know, it's just a feel good kind of thing, you know, what happens. And I'm kind of like, you know, more confident. And especially I have to have my heels to be more confident. If there is no heels, for some reason, you know, the confidence doesn't come. Maybe it's the external appearance, but internally I'm always kind of like, you know, confident. But yeah, I kind of like, you know, it's just not a 6-yard drape. It has got its own identity. And it's also our nation's pride, you know. Being an Indian, one cannot live without a sari, that's for sure. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree with
everyone
you,
will
Hema.
have at least one sari, if not at least their wedding trousseau, or maybe, you know, I have had like, you know, who have come to my events platform with no saris at all. You know, they would have had like, you know, one wedding trousseau or something. They wouldn't have had, but still at least one sari in their wardrobe. So it's just the sheer elegance, you know, beauty and simplicity. I just admire, you know, people, I mean, ladies in saris, and admire myself. Come on, it's your turn now.
Okay, thank you, Hema. Lovely to see all my sari friends to boost my self-esteem and give me the confidence for the talk. So thank you for being there. And I think like sari for me as well, I don't know what the magic is, but it just makes you feel so good in your body and also just inside as well. And I think the added advantage when you are overseas and, you know, a migrant is that you can wear your cultural identity with pride.
Correct.
And, you know, the looks that you people give you,
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
it makes you feel different and you feel proud of who you are. And I
Correct.
think that's so
Correct.
important as well when we are kind of living overseas to
Yeah.
have that sense about ourselves and hold our heads high. So that's what a
Yeah,
sari
true,
means
true,
to me.
true. Yeah, very
Yeah.
true, very true. Yeah. So, Surpreet, I introduced you. Hope I did it right.
Mhm. Yes, thank
Good,
you.
good,
I
good,
heard it.
good. Yeah. So today it's all about talking about the topic of self-esteem, and just to kind of like just to a few to wrap it up, like what self-esteem is, like according to me, it's more about the person's overall sense of personal worth or value, like how much we appreciate, just liking ourselves, regardless of what the circumstances are. And basically it's defined by so many factors like self-confidence, feeling of security, identity, and belonging, feeling, you know being competent. So how would you describe self-esteem?
Very similarly, Hema. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's, the opinion that we hold about ourselves. How do we regard ourselves? How do we think we are? How do we value ourselves? Do we not value ourselves? Do we kind of think that we are worthy, we are important? Do we think about ourselves as people who are positively thinking about ourselves? Or we
yeah,
tend to sometimes just judge ourselves
yeah,
as to who we are, and sometimes don't think ourselves about, in a very positive way. So yeah, it's like, just how do you think about yourself? And I think it's so important and connected to our emotional well-being and who we are as people. Like, low esteem, self-esteem is not a mental health problem as such, but as you can kind of understand that how closely connected it is to our emotional well-being. So that's how, I would,
you would say that.
like
Yeah.
self-confidence, like you said, yes, but that's a part of it. But I think that's that whole general way of how we kind of perceive ourselves and how we
Yeah.
think others are perceiving us as well.
Okay. All right, right. It's interesting, right? So we are talking about low self-esteem as one of the common problems, which I work a lot with psychiatrists and clinical psychologists and a whole heap of them because I work for mental health. And it is a common factor, which is like, low self-esteem. Can you tell us how it affects people's, well-being and mental health?
Sure. So, like, I see lots of people who come into my practice who are experiencing that low self-esteem. And usually it kind of comes across as how we are judging ourselves. And sometimes people think, I'm not good enough. I'm not being that perfect mom. I'm not being that perfect housemaker. I'm not being that perfect wife. So self-esteem to a large extent is kind of connected with the expectations that we have from ourselves. And many times I notice that people don't have very realistic expectations. Like, some part of them knows, that they're not being realistic, but then
Yeah,
another
yeah,
part can't just help themselves from having very high standards about themselves, which then they find it hard to meet. Another thing that I think about low self-esteem is that it also is connected to, like I said, perfectionism, but also how we perceive other people are judging us. And so sometimes, we value so much about what people think about us, that, like, we kind of don't hold our own opinions to be as important. And we are always sometimes trying to please other people or being good for the family or our kids, but not quite do what we want or what we think is important for ourselves. So these are some ways where in everyday life, we can see how low self-esteem can affect us. And if we go a bit further, and let's say low self-esteem has been going on for a while, then it kind of starts affecting our mood. Because if I think I'm not good enough, it's going to affect how I feel, you know, and I'm not going to feel good. I am going to feel sad. I won't
Yeah.
sleep well. I won't eat well. So it kind of, I feel a bit helpless or hopeless. So all of these
Oh,
things can add to the depression, or in some cases, if we are, it can create anxiety, and
yeah,
which
yeah.
might stop us from, you know, like doing new things, because we are not sure about ourselves, or we are always doubting ourselves. Or sometimes we may do all of those things that we want to do, but the kind of pressure that I notice we all put on ourselves sometimes to get it all right and get it all perfect and have ourselves presented so perfectly, all of that kind of affects our
Yeah,
low self-esteem. Yeah.
yeah. So if you can kind of like relate to, the way it is kind of like, considered back home in India and here, like, do you kind of like differentiate that? In the sense like, um the ones what you're exposed to back home is completely different to what you're exposed to here, like, you're more responsible, and you are the person, like you have to deal with it, like you have no other choice. But
Yeah.
like, how would you kind of like relate to between being here in this country just by yourself, and just maybe with a tiny bit of like, support from friends occasionally, and maybe family nothing at all, because majority of us, like, we don't have any extended families here. It's good if, blessed are those who have like, some family here. But like,
Yeah.
in India it's different, because you have your own family and you have your own friend circle. It's not that you don't have it here, you do have it. But like, how would you relate to that one?
Yeah, I think some parts of it would be similar, you know, like you can have self-esteem issues in, you know, wherever you are back home. It's a universal feeling. But at the same time, you're so right that, you know, we have such a strong network of family back home, of friends that we
Yeah.
connect with and relate with. And they're so important in terms of the others who are around us, who are important in our lives. They have such a huge impact on how we feel about ourselves. So the more people we have, but it's not, I think, just about the number, but it's about the quality of people you have around you. If you have
Correct,
people
correct.
who
Yeah.
are around you, who are encouraging you, who are supporting you, you're telling you, look, you'll do okay, you'll be fine. Like all of those things matter. So I think wherever you are in the world, you know, whether through phone or online, or, you know, have those people you can communicate and connect with, who make you feel good, and do the same for them, you
For
know,
them as
like,
well, yeah. But
because it's so
it's not
mutual.
always the case, isn't it? Like, people are under so much pressure, and it kind of
Yeah.
like, varies every single day. And the time, and it's also at the time of interaction, like, what the response would be. So it's dependent on so many factors.
Yes. And also, I think, like, you know, like we had a lot of help back home. Like we had our families, we had moms, you know, we had sisters who could
Yeah,
help us with all the different things we need to do. But here we are managing home, we are managing families, you know, like even before coming for the session, I have, you know, getting sure my kids have dinner. You know, that needs to be organized, and,
correct,
you know,
correct.
be a professional and manage all the things which I have to, you know, so it becomes a more difficult challenge when we are
Yeah,
overseas and
it
on
is
our
it
own.
is challenging, as long as like, you have your goals set, this is what you have to do, and this
Yeah.
is how you overcome it. Like, maybe just jot down what is necessary. Is that the way it is done?
Yeah, I think yeah, so I think like just I think, yeah, yes, you can make points, you can have realistic goals, you can have smart goals, as you know, people in the corporate world are familiar with, and
Hmm.
have time frames, but not put too much there. Keep reviewing what your goals are. So all of these things, don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, notice how you're thinking about yourself, how you're feeling about yourself. Keep a
Yeah.
check, you know, and just see which direction am I going in. Am I valuing myself, or am I putting myself down? Like keep thinking about all of these things as you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
along.
But there's a lot of juggling to do.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's part of everybody's life here. Do you all
yeah.
agree? Maybe you
True,
need to put
true.
a thumbs up sign if you all agree with it.
Oh, yeah. So let me just see if there are any questions or, you know, all are watching. Come on, ladies, put some questions here. Dipti, Soumya, Shobha, Shaileshini is saying, I can hear you both. Any questions for us? Shantana, any questions? I would love to. Uh, Yamini is saying, the question of being audible or not, she says, that's how Surpreet's voice is, soft and sweet.
I know. You can't do much about it. I have to accept
But
myself.
I don't know, when I do the collage of this video, probably, I don't know, the audio should be clear, but for me, it's really, really faint. But anyway,
Okay.
but the others are hearing it, so it should all be good. So Nirupama, thank you for joining in. So there are no questions. Come on, ladies. We are talking about, self-esteem. Just ask us some questions if you have any questions for us, right? So you have partly answered to this. So can you just tell me what leads to developing a low self-esteem or self-worth?
Sure. So, as we grow up and the people around us, the kind of messages they give to us, like from family, from parents, from teachers, friends, how they look at us and how they perceive us, that has a huge impact on the development of self-esteem.
Yeah,
And then when we grow up, we are adults, we have relationships, we have husbands, partners, how do they value us? How do our colleagues value us? How
value
do
us.
our
Yeah.
friends value us?
Mm.
Even adult children or children think of us. All of these things can affect our self-esteem. Now, say for example, like bullying. That's why, bullying is such an important issue which
Correct.
needs to be managed,
Yeah.
because that can really damage people's self-esteem. And which is
Right.
that,
Yeah.
like that ongoing somebody putting you down. Yeah,
Down.
and
Yeah.
after a while, what happens is that that voice that you hear from other people sometimes, which is not all that encouraging, can becomes your own voice. That's how
Mm.
you start thinking about your own self, and you
Self.
don't
Yeah.
realize it, but it kind of gradually starts becoming a part of your personality.
Personality.
So, these are some of the ways that self-esteem kind of develops for us. And that's why it's so important that for children, that why do they say praise them, encourage them? I think at this our generation of parents, we are always trying to give a lot of positive feedback for
Feedback. Yeah.
our children, and
Yeah.
all of those
That's
things
a good
kind
example of children, isn't it? No,
yeah,
that's where
and
it
all
starts.
that's where it starts. And that's if we put the right foundations of praise and encouragement, that's where self-worth starts. And that,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then it kind of grows, and then it becomes a part of who they are. And they'll
Yeah.
remember that part of them all through their life, however
Growing up.
far
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
from you.
And they can relate to that. Yeah. I've got a
Yeah.
question here for you, Surpreet. Suma
Mm-hmm.
Katti is asking, do you think COVID and the reduction in social interactions will have a big impact on self-esteem?
Yeah, good question there. Let's have a think. What do you all think? I think, I think with COVID, there have been challenges, but there have been opportunities as well. When I go out for a walk, and that's all we did when during lockdown, I saw so many people talking over the phones, talking to people around them.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I feel that, like all us, it does, there were some positive outs of that,
Outcome.
but the
Yeah.
challenges
See,
were
we
like,
kind of like, in pre-COVID, we kind of like never interacted so much. But post-COVID, like, during the time of COVID, like our, especially the technology involvement, like, with Zoom sessions and, Teams, whatever you name it, Google Hangouts, everything, like, it was more people interacting and getting to
Yeah.
do things. Like,
Yeah.
it became
Yes, but
more,
on
like, the
yeah,
interaction was more. Is that correct?
yes, that's right. But on the other hand, I agree with Suma as well that having that physical contact is also so important, because
Yeah,
that that the emotions kind of connect so better when when you give people a hug, when you
correct.
kind of it's
It's
not
just
just
the touch,
language.
the touch matters
Yes,
a lot. Yeah,
yes, and even that physical presence. And that's why I think like children who kind of rely on peers and
yeah,
people around them, it affected them quite a bit to be kind of isolated and not be in touch with their
touch. Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
So yes, COVID has had an impact on all of us, and I'm glad things have opened up, and hopefully that's the way that stay as
I
well.
know, I know. With the new
Yes,
variant, you never know what's going to happen. But
yeah,
at the moment, we have to just go with the flow. We have no choice. We did it 2 years ago, so we are kind of like
yes.
prepared mentally. If
We're
anything
much
goes wrong,
better
I
prepared
think it will
now.
still
Yeah,
continue the same way. But
yeah,
it's kind of like given us that kind of like strength. Yes, we can move forward, right? So we lost
yeah,
2 years for nothing, isn't it?
yeah. And even for people who are working, like, not having that everyday interaction with their
Yeah,
peers in a way which is like casual and, touch base with each other's family and what's happening. Or, it's become so work oriented and so workforce focused that I
correct.
think that also, you know, kind of affects not getting that warm regard from people, which in then can affect our self-esteem.
Yeah. Nice, nice. Okay, come on, ladies. I need more questions there. It will be nice to get some answers from Surpreet, who is really, really special in her psychotherapy cases and all kinds of like, emotional and health and well-being aspects. So you can get some good answers from her and tips as well, like what we need to do. Come on, ladies. I need more questions there. I have, but it's not that I don't have, I do. Okay. So this is again a low self-esteem. So what happens if you're just stuck with it, if you don't want to move? Like, there are people who don't want to move. So they are just stuck there. What happens in that instance?
Yeah, I think the good thing about self-esteem is that you don't have to be stuck with not thinking good about yourself. Once you realize that this is something I need to work on, you can work on it. Your brain adapts, and you can get out of that situation by just
Yeah,
doing simple things and work on it. So I don't think that you can be you need to stay stuck. It can be challenging sometimes to get
yeah.
yourself moving in the direction, but I'm pretty sure that you can work on it either yourself or with your family, or if you need professional help, that's something which can definitely be worked on.
Worked on, right. So you just need that push. So who's going to kind of like, push that? Like, you just need to have the gentle push. So is it, you have to decide yourself, or someone is there to try and, come on, you can do it. Who can do
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
First is
Look,
self.
yeah, it can be anything. It can be something you've read. It could be a quote you've read. It could be something you watched on the TV. It could be something someone has said, or you yourself realize that, why am I so stressed? Like it mean like the self-esteem might not be something which is very obvious as an issue, but it can be underlying. So it may be that you've been stressed for a long time and you're anxious and your mood is not good, but you may not realize that sometimes,
Sometimes, yeah.
self-esteem can play a part in it as well. So when you realize that, oh, why am I stressing so much, or what's going on for me? Like doing that self-introspection, it could be through writing down your thoughts and feelings. It could be talking with a really good friend who knows
Right.
you,
Yeah.
or your husband or family, all of these things can kind of encourage, you thinking about yourself and working on it.
Okay, okay, right. So, you partly answered again. What can we do to boost our self-esteem and lead emotionally healthy lives? You've kind of
Sure.
like mentioned, perhaps maybe I don't mind listening to you again.
Yeah, no, look, there are lots of things you can do. Like, say, for example, like I said earlier, like just becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings. Where am I thinking? Like I said, which direction am I going in? That's start with self introspection. You know, the other thing that you can do is self care. And I think with migrant women or with people from South Asian or Indian background, we're
Background,
not
yeah.
very good with looking after ourselves, isn't it? Like,
Correct,
it's
yeah.
always kids first, family first,
Yeah,
which is
there's
very
always a
important.
disparity there.
Yes, and that also affects our well-being. If our kids are doing well, we do well. If the family is doing well, we do well. But at the same time, just doing simple things like being mindful about our food, mindful about getting us exercise, mindful about sometimes, I have
Getting a
women
proper
who say,
sleep,
yes, sleep, or just simple things like, just sitting down for 10 minutes and not doing anything
anything,
and
yeah.
just allowing myself the time to just relax and chill, doing something that I like to do.
Yeah,
That's self care.
yeah.
And sometimes I find there are women who find it so hard to even allow themselves to do that. So,
To do
self
that,
care,
yeah.
I
It's
think, is a
sometimes
big
it is
one.
difficult, isn't it? It's especially like,
Yeah.
with kids around, or if they are kind of like, working in a high pressure environment, all those things, it's kind of like common. But yeah, as you said, you have to do a little bit of self-care there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it's just keeping it in your mind, you
yeah,
know, like sometimes, you'll do multitasking with so many other things. So if
correct.
that's one other thing that you can include about yourself, I think it's just including it as a little small goal for yourself every day, or even like just asking yourself, sometimes when you're feeling low, what's something good that I've done today?
Yeah,
It could be for my family, it could be for myself or at my work, but just reflecting on the good stuff that you do,
yeah,
and also just looking at yourself with kindness. I think that's really important. Like, we're
important.
always sometimes so harsh with ourselves. If you're not even getting to self care, that's also okay. Maybe my kids are small, they're not sleeping well, I have to be on to it, I have to be switched on, but I need to be how I talk to myself. It's if I have a calm, kind way of talking to myself and looking
Talking
at
to them, yeah.
myself,
Hmm.
all of that things can kind of, help with self-esteem. Another
Yeah,
thing I do want to mention is respect. Like, I feel like, because in our culture, making sure that we are treated respectfully,
yeah.
and just being assertive with people around us, not having to say yes to everything, being able to say no when we don't feel comfortable about something,
Comfortable.
or if something's not okay, being able to say that
Yeah.
with confidence, or gradually working on it. I think all of those things affect
All put
self-esteem.
together, yeah.
And yeah, and then it also helps us to be like good role models for our children. Like, I always try and keep that in the back of my mind. Like, what are they observing there from their mom? Like, can
Correct.
I, like, if I can teach them to, if I look after myself, or if I am assertive, they are also picking up things. So,
Exactly,
by
yeah.
looking after yourselves, you're
Kids
looking
always
after
kind
your
of like,
family.
have a picture of their parents as their role models anyway, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
Most of the
definitely.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and sometimes I remind clients of that, how in the aeroplane, when they say, put the oxygen mask first on yourself and then
Yes.
put it on your child. So I think
Child
just
later.
keeping that, yeah, that if you are charged, if you're looking after yourself well, you'll
Yourself,
have
yeah.
that energy to look after the people around you as well. So it's that, again, we get back to
Yeah.
balance, which is hard, I know.
True, true, true. All right, now moving on to some general questions. Let me see if there are any more questions here from this platform. All are watching. Come on, ladies, some questions for us would be great. Thank you, Jamuna, for joining in. Thank you, Divya, for joining in. Thank you, Shri, for joining in. Thank you, Lata Nagarajanti, for joining in. Thanks, Lata Rajesh. Thanks, Charu Desai, for joining us in. Thank you. So now moving on to some general questions. What are some common problems people seek help for? Like, the first thing which comes to my mind would be the stigma around mental health. Obviously, like, self-esteem, it becomes worsened and it kind of like, follows a different path. And the very first thing which comes to my mind is stigma. So how can, you know, this be seen in a different way?
Yeah. I think what I can say is that I know that, seeking help and actually, thinking to I'm not coping, it makes it very hard for people to admit that I need help. And also, like, admitting it to family, we kind of see it as something which damages our self-esteem actually, if we go out and ask for help, but I think what I learned from this culture is that how open people are, and there are so many services available,
Available.
how
Mm-hmm.
confidential everything is. People really worry about confidentiality, but I can assure you that, mental health professionals, they really work with so much high privacy, and it's so
Correct,
important
correct.
in their
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
And, like,
See, it
you
is
don't
not
need to
talked
seek
about
help
in India,
only
right?
if,
Coming from Indian background, like, it's not talked much about in India. Like, anything to have or compared as mental health, you kind of like, brushed aside. It's not the same way as it is seen here, isn't it? Sometimes we
yeah,
come up with the
yeah.
same tendency here and continue on. So that's where I would be coming from, where you draw the line.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yes, but I think like things are changing in India as well. Even the profession of psychology and counseling is becoming coming in a very big way. And people are realizing the impact of, like the COVID that's been having on children, adults. That's been another factor. Actually, even in Australia, that, government is putting so much of funding into mental health and children, because it's realized that, look, there's a big need out there. But I
Yeah.
think what's important to remember is that when you see a psychologist, it should not be the idea that, oh, if I have depression or anxiety, or people will think of me as having a mental health disorder, because that's
Yeah,
not how we
it's not
kind
right.
of
Yeah,
that's
sometimes
not
it's
how we
just the
think about
counseling. You
people.
just need that little bit of,
Yeah.
someone being very assertive and saying, okay, this is what it is, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, and I think one thing which I hear from people is that what helps them seeking counseling is that, oh, one, you don't know me, secondly, you are non-judgmental, you are not
Correct.
judging me, and
Yeah.
they kind of really appreciate that about having somebody who's external, who's non-judgmental, who listens to you, who works with you on whatever you're going through.
Whatever. Yeah.
So it doesn't shouldn't be thought of just as a I have a problem, or I'm not coping. It can lead you to even do better in your life, even if you're doing okay. Counseling can take you to higher coaching, for example, is a way which people are using quite a lot these days to kind of
Yeah,
get them into
it's very
higher job
common,
positions or do better.
it's like,
It's getting more
team building
common.
activity as well. Like, every member in the
Yes,
team can get the coaching. It
yes,
could be in any
sure.
form, like,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
like professional coaching, personal coaching. There are different
yes,
kind of like, coaching available. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
excellent.
so I think going back to what you asked about common questions or common things people come up with, it's, as we all know, like anxiety, stress, depression,
Yeah,
grief, like so many people lost family members because of COVID in the last 2 years.
yeah,
So, like, or relationship issues or children
correct.
issues or
That would be a
anxiety
major
or,
one, isn't it?
yeah, all of these things are very common that we kind of see in our everyday practice.
Right, right. All right. The next one I have here is, how can we identify if, like, we or someone around us are under stress and they are not coping well? Is there like something you can see and it's evident? Sometimes it's evident, you can make out by their behavior, which is kind of like, evident. But if someone is not expressive, so what happens in that instance?
Hmm. I think you can notice if people are being, you can notice that something is changed, or
Yeah,
they're not their usual self. If they're more withdrawn, they're not talking that much, or they are a bit more irritable. And you can go into, oh, what have I done? But it could actually be that there's something going on for them.
yeah.
Or like if you're a manager in an service, if there's a
Service.
lot of absenteeism happening, or there's
Correct.
some
Okay.
behavioral issues, sometimes there's more which is going on underlying for
Yeah.
people. So I think just being, that it's much more common than we think.
Yeah.
So
See,
just keeping
now
just
the work scenario for everyone has changed because mm, quite a few of them are like, still work from home scenario.
yeah.
So what happens in that instance? Like, the interaction would be less, and, seeing in person or like, face to face is less. What happens in those instances?
Yeah, I think it's
Sometimes maybe we
developing.
have to see like, what their email says, right? What tone they are using.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I think with all organizations I've found in the last 2 years, like I'm working with Relationship Australia as well, and I
Yeah.
noticed that people are doing lots of things, keep an eye out for each other. And like when we
Okay.
have our team meetings, we always talk about not just work. We spend 5-10 minutes in the beginning just doing a general check-in, what people have plans for, what's happened. There's so many workshops, and people are inviting people in to give lectures and talks. So there's all of that thing happening. But I think also reaching out to
Yeah.
people, and letting them know if something is going on for us, um all of those things can kind of help if we are not
Yeah.
if you're not
Yeah,
doing very
but
well.
the individual has to come forward, isn't it? In any case, like, they have to
Yeah.
come forward.
Yes.
Otherwise,
But
nothing is
I
going to
think
happen. Like,
no, but like how we have the Are You Okay Day? So
yeah.
I
Oh
think I
yes,
really
are
like
you
that.
okay? There,
I
correct.
really like that line, Are you okay?
Okay.
And sometimes
Just
just
give them a
checking
call and
in,
find out, are you okay?
yeah, or just checking in with people, is that's also something we can do to allow people to tell us,
Yeah.
because of shame, because of stigma, because of trying to show that we are doing well. People may not talk themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll come to some treatments. So what psychological treatments or psychotherapies being provided? Like, perhaps maybe what you provide in your organization or maybe in your private practice, or in general, what's available for the general public,
Sure.
since it's a global platform, it kind of like, varies from place to place. But in general, like,
Yeah.
what is available?
Yeah. So look, different psychologists use different kind of therapies, and most psychologists now use a blend or use an integrated approach. There are
Yeah.
lots of therapies out there, so it's
Mm-hmm.
no point getting too confused about what's there. But
Yeah.
some of the common ones are like, people are very familiar about mindfulness. So
Yeah.
mindful approaches are very common these days.
Common these
Also
days. Yeah.
challenging our thoughts. Like if we are having negative thoughts about ourselves, just challenging those thoughts. Are they really realistic? That's cognitive behavior therapy. That's like it's the more older, more traditional, but still being used and evidence based. So that's another therapy which is being used. But on the top of that, there are also like trauma based approaches. And um, and I think the relationship that you find you form with your counselor and therapist, that's a very important vehicle to bring change. And when you
Right.
work with children, you use a lot of play material, you do use art,
Okay.
you use play and other ways to kind of help them to
Yeah.
communicate or
Yeah.
tell them about what's going on. So
Yeah.
it's, different
Art
kind of.
therapy is a good one, isn't it? It's very therapeutic for them.
Yes, yes. And there might be some therapists who specialize in that more than others. So if you are particularly interested in a particular kind of therapy, when you
Yeah.
make that call, it's good to just, check in if that therapist is providing. But yeah, I think it's good to just have a general chit chat first or have a session and see how you feel with that person. All of these things, I think, have a very big impact along with the therapy and strategies and interventions, which is a part of our regular work that we do.
Okay. Right, right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So we'll just focus the Australian kind of like, resources. So what can you access, how can you access help in Australia for mental health? And also maybe perhaps a general kind of like, based in other countries?
Yeah, sure. So look, there are different things that you can do. It also depends on how, the level of the problem or issue that you're experiencing. Yeah. But I think the first point of contact should be your GP. And
GP,
if you
okay.
have a good relationship with your GP, just
Yeah,
chatting with them, and then they will be able to guide you. So there are lots of psychologists who are working in private practice, and
yeah,
government provides rebate for counseling sessions as well. There are about
yeah.
20 sessions in a year now, since
Okay,
COVID has started, which are provided where the government is providing rebate. And so
okay.
that's one way. But the other way is also there are organizations specifically for children or adults, like, say, for example, perinatal mental health. So you can see a psychologist in private practice. There might be some services, or there might be couples counseling provided by some, organizations. So a good way to start is also doing an internet search of what's available in your area.
Area,
And
okay.
because
Yeah,
people don't like to travel too far,
yeah,
so that's something that you can look out for. And as you are aware, there are websites, and if there are emergency numbers, I don't need to talk about that, but there's, you can just kind of Google search, and Lifeline Counseling, where you can maybe even pick up the phone and talk to someone.
yeah,
So
yeah,
even employee assistance programs, it's free counseling,
yeah,
which
yeah,
so many organizations have got EAP providers. And
yeah.
I think wherever you are, I think GPs should be the first point of contact,
First point of
you
contact.
know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also websites and Google, like, a lot of most people have got their websites where they post information about what they do and how they do it, and go to them, call them, talk to them. These are all the ways that you can kind of, get help for yourselves.
yeah, yeah. That reminds me to mention that we do have like mental health telephone access line. It's called MCAR.
Okay. Yep.
That's based in, I think it's for the whole of New South Wales service. It's just one service, and then it kind of like, gets rolled over to whichever LHD it is. So we do have that access line, and
Yeah.
that's actually located in our hospital. So that's all I know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sure. Yeah.
we're coming close to finishing. So what would be your final comments or suggestions that you would like to give to our Sari Gallery ladies?
Yeah. Look, I think all of you are awesome out there. And, just have that faith and confidence in your own selves. And the all that you do as women, as moms, as employees, you always try and put in your very best. And just, have that confidence and take care of yourselves. Make that time out for yourselves to do little things. All of that stuff, kind of helps
Combined,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, join groups, like it's really helpful for me when I go for my sari group meetings. I just feel so good to chill with women,
Correct.
who
As long as you
yeah,
kind of like stay connected with,
yeah,
similar
yeah,
kind of like, you know, frequency people, like, you know, you tend to enjoy a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
excellent,
yeah,
excellent.
that's what I would
I'll just say
suggest.
hello
Yes.
to a few others. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Surpreet.
No, go on. Yeah. If anybody has any questions
Yeah, that's
on
what I'm
topics, if
just
I've
checking.
not covered
I couldn't
something as
see any
well.
questions though. I think I passed Opshni or Divya. Jamuna Krishnamurti, thank you for joining in. Revati, thank you. Vidya, thank you. Rohini, thank you. Geeta, thank you. Quite a few people watching today. I'm impressed. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. So if you have got any questions, do pop that in the comment section. If you don't want to ask those questions here, you're most welcome to put in some comments in the comment section in a question form, and Surpreet would be very happy to answer. But I'll only acknowledge saying, you know, I have acknowledged. So that's all I would be doing. So there is a professional person here who would be able to answer your questions. So it will be all general questions. So feel free to ask those ones and you can get some answers as well. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. And now I have to thank you, Surpreet, for joining in this platform. It was really amazing to have you. I've been kind of like, you know, thinking, and finally it eventuated. Someone is saying something here. Sorry. Thank you for an insightful talk. Oh, that's so sweet, Suma. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
So this one will be available, ladies. If you just want to go and re-listen, you're most welcome to do. You just have to go onto the events tab and press the event, which is number 79. And also you can check on other events as well. So we will be winding off. Thank you so much, Surpreet, for joining in again. So
Yeah.
Surpreet and Hema winding off, but stay
Yeah.
tuned for the next
Yeah.
week's program, which will be announced on Sunday. It will be really an exciting one, people. Please do tune in for next Wednesday. It will be an amazing one. And I will keep you all posted on Sunday, and just looking forward to having you all again on Wednesday. All right. So Surpreet and Hema again signing off. Bye
Thank
for
you for
now.
having me. Yeah. See you.
Pleasure,
Bye.
pleasure.
Have a
See
good
you,
night.
ladies. Bye for now.
Bye. See you.
Bye.